In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the dispenser of grace. Say, He is the one God, God, the eternal, the uncaused cause of all being. He begets not, and neither is He begotten, and there is nothing that could be compared with Him.
Read in the name of thy sustainer, who has created man out of a germ cell. Read, for thy sustainer is the most bountiful one, who has taught man the use of the pen, taught man what he did not know. Allah is He save whom there is no deity, the one who knows all that is beyond the reach of a created being's perception, as well as all that can be witnessed by a creature's senses or mind. He, the most gracious, the dispenser of grace. Allah is He save whom there is no deity, the sovereign supreme, the holy, the one with whom all salvation rests, the giver of faith, the one who determines what is true and false, the Almighty, the one who subdues wrong and restores right, the one to whom all greatness belongs. Utterly remote is Allah in His limitless glory from anything to which men may ascribe a share in His divinity. He is Allah, the Creator, the Maker who shapes all forms and appearances. His alone are the attributes of perfection. All that is in the heavens and on earth extols His limitless glory, for He alone is almighty, truly wise.
The human body. A flawless structure with many fine details that still have yet to be discovered. Scientists engaged in research using today's advanced technology obtained astonishing results concerning the human body. One of these dealt with the tissues in the body. Living tissues contain 26 different elements. 6 of these are the most common: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. These basic elements represent 95% of all tissues. This, in turn, represents important scientific evidence of the information revealed in the Qur'an, the creation of man out of clay. The building blocks that constitute almost all the human body are present in the soil, either in free or compound forms. The first human being was created by God, who shaped clay into human form and breathed the soul into it. This miraculous event is described in the Qur'an. Your Lord said to the angels, I am going to create a human being out of clay. When I have formed him and breathed my spirit into him, fall down in prostration to him. In another verse, God tells us that we created man from an extract of clay. The Arabic word sulala, translated as extract in the verse, means representative example or essence. The information revealed in the Qur'an 1400 years ago confirms what modern science tells us. The fact that the same elements are employed in human creation as those found in the soil. When the sperm of the male unites with the ovum of the female, the essence of the baby to be born is formed. This single cell is known as a zygote. It will instantly begin reproducing by dividing and eventually become a piece of flesh called an embryo. The embryo, however, does not spend its developmental period in a void. It clings to the uterus, similar to roots that are firmly fixed to the earth by its tendrils. Through this bond, it can obtain the substances essential to its development from the mother's body. Here, an important miracle of the Qur'an is revealed. While referring to the embryo developing in the mother's womb, God uses the word alaq. Recite, in the name of your Lord who created man from alaq. Recite, and your Lord is the most generous. The meaning of the word alaq in Arabic is a thing that clings to some place. Certainly the use of such a specific word for the embryo developing in the mother's womb proves once again that the Qur'an is the word of God, the Lord of all the worlds. Sperm undertake a journey into the mother's body until they reach the ovum. Only 1,000 out of 250 million sperm succeed in reaching the ovum. At the end of this 5-minute race, the ovum, half the size of a grain of salt, will let only one of the sperm in. However, this finding that was determined in our own day reveals something that was previously unknown. That is, the substance of man is not the whole semen, but only a small part of it. This is explained in the Qur'an as follows. Does man reckon he will be left uncontrolled without purpose? Was he not once a drop of ejected semen? As close inspection shows, we are informed in the Qur'an that man is made not from the entire semen, but only a small part of it. This is also what modern science says. He creates you stage by stage in your mother's wombs in threefold darkness. That is God, your Lord. Sovereignty is His. There is no deity but Him. So what has made you deviate? Modern biology has revealed that the embryological development of the baby takes place in the manner revealed in the verse. The expression, a threefold darkness, indicates 3 dark regions involved during the development of the embryo. These are the darkness of the abdomen, the darkness of the womb, and the darkness of the placenta. It is also pointed out in this verse that a human being is created in the mother's womb in 3 distinct stages. In basic human embryology, a fundamental reference text in embryology, this fact is stated as follows. The life in the uterus has 3 stages: pre-embryonic, first 2.5 weeks, embryonic, until the end of the 8th week, and fetal, from the 8th week to labor. Information on the development in the mother's womb became available only after observations with modern devices. Yet, just like many other scientific facts, in a miraculous way, God draws our attention to these items of information in the verses of the Qur'an. The fact that such detailed and accurate information was given in the Qur'an at a time when people had scarce information on medical matters is clear evidence that it is the Word of God. What determines the gender of an unborn child? According to the Qur'an, the answer lies in its father. Masculinity or femininity is created out of a drop of semen which has been ejected. Gender is determined by the sperm cells from the male, and that the female has no role in this process. The verses that tell us this read, "He has created both sexes, male and female, from a drop of semen which has been ejected." Wasn't he a drop of ejaculated sperm, then an embryo which he created and shaped, making from it both sexes, male and female? The developing disciplines of genetics and molecular biology have scientifically validated the accuracy of this information given in the Qur'an. A baby's gender is determined by which chromosome, X or Y, from the male unites with the female's ovum. None of this was known until the discovery of genes in the 20th century. Indeed, in many cultures, it was believed that the female determined the gender of a baby. This is one reason why women were blamed when they gave birth to girls. 14 centuries before human genes were discovered, however, the Qur'an revealed information that denies this superstition and referred to the origin of gender lying not with women, but with the semen deriving from men. That is because the Qur'an is the Word of God. Another important item of information provided in the verses of the Qur'an is the developmental stages of a human being in the mother's womb. We then formed the drop in the embryo, and formed the embryo into a lump, and formed the lump into bones, and clothed the bones in flesh, and then brought him into being as another creature. Blessed be God, the best of creators. It is clearly stated in these verses that in the mother's womb the bones develop first, and then the muscles form which wrap around them. Until very recently, embryologists assumed that the bones and muscles in an embryo developed at the same time. Yet research conducted by virtue of new technological developments has yielded such accurate conclusions. These researched findings are just as it is described in the Qur'an. First, the cartilage tissues of the embryo ossifies. Then, muscular cells that are selected from amongst the tissue around the bones come together and wrap around the bones. This event is described in a scientific publication titled Developing Human in the following words. The shape of the skeleton determines the general appearance of the embryo in the bone stages during the 7th week. Muscles do not develop at the same time, but their development follows soon after. The muscles take their positions around the bones throughout the body, and therefore clothe the bones. Thus, the muscles take their well-known forms and structures. The stage of clothing with muscles occurs during the 8th week. In short, developmental stages of man, as described in the Qur'an, are in perfect harmony with the findings of modern embryology. Emeritus Professor Keith Moore of the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology at the University of Toronto is one of the eminent embryologists in the world. He is one of those scholars who have identified this miracle in the Qur'an. Professor Moore examined the verses concerning human birth and announced his conclusions in these words. It has been a great pleasure for me to help clarify statements in the Qur'an about human development. It is clear to me that these statements must have come to Prophet Muhammad from God, or Allah, because most of this knowledge was not discovered until many centuries later. This proves to me that Prophet Muhammad must have been a messenger of God, or Allah. The development of a human being in its mother's womb is full of miracles. The fetus's ears begin to develop as early as the 22nd day of pregnancy and become fully functional in the 4th month. After that, the fetus can hear sounds in the mother's womb. For that reason, the sense of hearing forms before the other vital functions for a newborn baby. The order set out in the Qur'an is striking from that point of view. It is He who has created hearing, sight, and minds for you. What little thanks you show. God brought you out of your mother's wombs, knowing nothing at all, and gave you hearing, sight, and minds, so that perhaps you would show thanks. Close examination shows that the senses God refers to in the Qur'an are always mentioned in a particular order. Hearing, sight, and understanding. That is exactly the same order in which a baby's senses develop. In short, one of the discoveries of modern science, the order of development of human organs, is clearly stated in the Qur'an. Let us now consider all those human beings who have ever lived and who are living today. Every person has his or her own set of fingerprints. Even identical twins having the very same DNA sequence have different fingerprints. That is because there is a special formation in the fingerprints. Fingerprints attain their final shape before birth and remain the same for a lifetime unless a permanent scar appears. That is why fingerprints are accepted as a very important proof of identity, exclusive to their owner. Scientists discovered this important feature only in the later 19th century. However, in the Qur'an, God points to the fingertips, which did not attract anyone's attention at that time, and calls our attention to their importance. Does man imagine we will not reassemble his bones? Yes, we are able to put together in perfect order the very tips of his fingers. Research carried out in recent years has revealed that the prefrontal area, lying in the frontal part of the skull, is responsible for the management of particular functions of the brain. This area of the cerebrum is also responsible for planning, motivation, and initiating good and evil behavior, and it is responsible for telling lies and the truth. A book entitled Essentials of Anatomy and Physiology says, in relation to its involvement in motivation, the prefrontal area is also thought to be the functional center for aggression. Parallel information to these scientific facts discovered by scientists in the last 60 years was also imparted in the Qur'an 14 centuries ago. No, indeed, if he does not stop, we will grab him by the forelock, a lying, sinful forelock. The expression, the lying, sinful forelock, in this verse is most remarkable. This demonstrates a close parallel to the activities carried out in the front part of the brain.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the dispenser of grace.
Allah is He save whom there is no deity, the ever-living, the self-subsistent fount of all being. Neither slumber overtakes Him nor sleep. His is all that is in the heavens and all that is on earth. Who is there that could intercede with Him unless it be by His leave? He knows all that lies open before men and all that is hidden from them, whereas they cannot attain to aught of His knowledge, save that which He wills them to attain. His eternal power overspreads the heavens and the earth, and their upholding wearies Him not, and He alone is truly exalted, tremendous.
Say, He is the one God, God the eternal, the uncaused cause of all being. He begets not, and neither is He begotten, and there is nothing that could be compared with Him.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the dispenser of grace. All praise is due to Allah alone, the sustainer of all the worlds, the most gracious, the dispenser of grace, Lord of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and unto Thee alone do we turn for aid. Guide us the straight way, the way of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed Thy blessings, not of those who have been condemned by Thee, nor of those who go astray.